Imagine walking to work every day and seeing your patients in excruciating pain, many of them at the end of their life cycles. That's what I saw as a home health aide, where I got to talk to patients and see the benefits that would happen if assisted suicide were legal. What is assisted suicide? Well, according to Amelia DeConescu, a social worker in California who focuses on improving the lives of people with developmental disorders, said, deliberate killing committed under the impulse of compassion in order to relieve the physical pains of a person suffering from an incurable disease whose death is inevitable. Now, you may have heard of euthanasia. Also, assisted suicide is where your doctor can give you a shot to take home that you could administer or not administer at any time you want. In euthanasia, your doctor gives it to you right there, so it's not legal in the US as much as assisted suicide is. Today I'm going to discuss the current state of assisted suicide, the benefits to you of assisted suicide, and reveal a vision for the future. Because the horrible ending stages for patients, assisted suicide is a need that needs to be legalized. If we were to implement the same laws as states where it is legal, patients could die with dignity. Assisted suicide is legal in Washington, D.C., Washington, Vermont, Hawaii, Oregon, and Colorado. Everyone deserves to die with dignity, and when a patient is sick, weak, or vulnerable, it makes it embarrassing and degrading to them. According to Lisa Yount, a Stanford University graduate in creative writing who has been writing educational material for 40 years, there is an extensive amount of tasks a recipient must receive to get approved for this medicine. The law in Oregon specifically states that the recipient must be an adult capable of consenting that has an incurable disease that will end the patient's life in 6 months maximum. This law also states that a patient must come in and write a request to get the assisted suicide. The doctor then would give them a physical exam that would tell them their prognosis, their diagnosis, and then they get a mental exam to make sure they're mentally capable of deciding that that's actually what they want and it's not an impulse decision. After that, they would then get referred to a second doctor who would do the same thing, just to make sure that the first doctor is getting the right advice. Some say it's immoral for doctors to kill patients intentionally when their job is to save them, but that is wrong considering we've had control over our lives, our whole lives, and we need to be able to decide how to finish it. A person should have control of their lives no matter what the circumstances are. Now you can understand the severity, let's find the best way to solve it. Legalizing would benefit many in the distinctive dying process. The distinctive dying process is a patient who has less than 6 months to live. According to Ezekiel Emanuel, an American oncologist, each year approximately 2.3 million Americans die. Of those 2.3 million Americans, he stated from an estimation that 50% die quickly of random causes and 50% are going to die of the distinct death phase, or the distinctive death cycle, in which those patients, the 50% of those patients, 25,000 of them would be able to consent. They'd be in the right state of mind to consent assisted suicide. With this being said, that means assisted suicide would benefit thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Patients interviewed by Liz Szabo, a medical reporter for the USA Today, said, "This is a period of terminal illness. This is a time in which they will not be in control, when they will be dependent on others, and they will have a bunch of physical symptoms that will undermine their quality of life that they want to avoid. This allows patients to end their lives before they're incapable of taking care of themselves. They would also be able to bond with their family in a more memorable way." How many of you have actually heard, "I don't want to be remembered this way by a family member or by somebody else"? Nobody wants to be remembered being sick and dying. Now we know that it's beneficial. What does our future look like with this solution? Well, imagine a world where the end of your life is painless and peaceful. According to the National Institute of Health, most people at the end of the life cycle experience extreme complications. Many of them being extreme pain, breathing problems, which means they would have to get breathing tubes or they're actually gasping for air at the end of their life. Skin irritation from not being able to get out of bed, they'll develop skin sores that could also result in infection. Digestive problems, which is when many elderly patients or cancer patients die of starvation because they aren't able to eat food or keep it down. temperature sensitivity, and extreme fatigue. Morphine is used to treat a lot of these symptoms, but it also causes extreme drowsiness and confusion, making you not even the person you were before. Without legalization, we're leaving family members with weeks and months of suffering. Now you could decide, would you rather live your life suffering in pain all the way until the end, or die a peaceful death where you could decide on your own terms at home with your loved ones? In conclusion, assisted suicide should be legal in all states. Many benefits for you, the community, and it has potential to change our future. Get involved by encouraging your representatives to legalize this by signing this petition that'll be sent to the Indiana State Representatives. Join me in making a difference for ourselves and our loved ones in the future.